All right, let's get into some fun stuff with some effects. One of my favorite things is Bitcrush. So this does two different things. It changes the bit depth, like 8-bit, 12-bit, 16-bit, and it also changes the sample rate. Let me turn this mix all the way up. Next up, we have a guitar simulation. You've got your pre-gain, your post-gain, your distortion, and your dry wet. It gives things a nice saturation and a bit of heat. Or you can go kind of like a little more distortion, but distortion is one of those things that's best used subtly. Additionally, we have this low gain, mid gain, high gain. Now this has to be on for these to work, and this also gives it just a little bit of a subtle boost. It's just a small, tiny bit. I don't know if you can tell that on and off. But these knobs are for people that kind of are really particular about their sound and want just a little extra in there. It's just going to be a small type effect. Now, this main panel up here, you can get to from the main panel when you hide the keyboard. This is great when you're in performance mode with a MIDI keyboard and want all these controls on the same panel. For now, we'll go and look at what we got here. Now, for legato and glide to work, mono mode must be on. So if it's in poly mode, you're not going to hear a glide. But when you turn on mono, now you're going to hear this nice glide. And legato mode means you don't really hear the attack of the note when you change notes. So legato mode off. You hear that attack? When I turn legato mode on, it's off. Now, MIDI velocity scaling is used mainly with MIDI keyboards. It works really similar to how Logic EXS24 works and how Ableton MIDI scaling works. Let's take, for example, you have a MIDI controller that always plays super quiet and you just have to bang on the keys for it to make noise. And let's say you just want to give it a nice boost. So when you play, things are just a little louder. So if it's at 0 to 127, it's not going to adjust the MIDI from your keyboard at all. But let's say you want like a 40 boost. I would move this up to 40, and now it's going to scale the input of your keyboard starting at 40. So even if you hit it quiet, it's going to hit that note at 40, so you have a nice adjustment. And this is going to adjust the keyboard velocity as well. So if I move this high like this, it's almost like it's not velocity sensitive. Let's say you always want your keys to hit at a velocity scale of 55, that note. You can set it to like 54 to 56. Now anywhere I hit it on the key, it's always going to be 55. If I move that back up to 127, now it's always going to be between 106 and 127. It's a lot louder. If you're a live MIDI player, this can really change the expressiveness of a patch. Next we have a chorus. This is just your basic standard chorus effect, nothing fancy. I bet this sounds really nice on this DX7 piano here. Oh yeah, that's nice. And your flanger, you want that dry wet to be right about 50%, and that'll give you your classic flanging sounds. You could really get some crazy sounds with this. So these are just basic chorus and flanger effects. And this tempo sync knobs allows you to sync all your knobs and effects to this tempo. So if I change this to 130 BPM and turn on tempo sync knobs, now we're gonna see like the times are all divisions of this. And even like the auto pan, and I think tremolo and of course your sequence. So now you can have your delay be in time, and it's going to be in time with your ARP and sequencer. Super cool, right? You may be thinking, wouldn't you always want the knobs to be tempo synced? That's great. But sometimes you want to break the grid and do some like cool sound effects. And this is especially good with the stereo delay. You can make those cool effects by having this tempo sync off. And there's even more hidden controls on the FX panel. If you hide the keyboard, you'll see that you got some bonus stuff here. This is your master tuning. You can change this from 440 to 432. And if you use AudioKit Synth 1 or Will Sonic, you can actually change the tuning quite a bit more. I have some videos down there at the bottom that you can watch. Vibrato does what it says. It's pretty intense. You can modify each layer of the pitch. And now you're probably worried, oh hey, it's just going to be out of tune. You can just double tap this and have it go back to the original settings. 0, here. For example, you may be wondering, what's the difference between just going down -12? Well, when we're dealing with samples, there could be different samples. So let's say you want to hit a C3 and there's a certain sample on that C3. You can take that sample and pitch it down 12. But if you go back here to the semitone and go down -12 semitones, you're going to get the sample that's normally on C2. You can take that C2 sample and pitch it up so it's now sounding like a C3. If you're into sound design like I am, I love messing with stuff like this and making cool effects and really like doing things that you're not supposed to do with the sound. So that's what this stuff is for. And a fun fact, 1987, that's when Roland released the D50 LA Synth, and the D1 is inspired by that, so that's where you get that 1987. And you might also try clicking there. What? An Easter egg? What's this all about? Wow, that was incredible. So that's a little secret Easter egg in D1. If you tap that, then you're going to get this bonus sound here called Digital D1 is going to be added to your factory library, plus a bonus group here called Robot. And this is really fun, used with a sequencer. So yeah, that's super cool. Tell your friends about that. And that's just a little reward for putting up with me and watching this long video. Little secret Easter egg there.